You're watching DW New Asia. Coming up today, former Prime Minister of Pakistan Imran Khan is on the offensive after the attempt on his life last week. He accuses the current Prime Minister and the military for being behind the attack.
They are threatened. They know elections, they cannot compete. And so their motive was to get me out of the way. They tried other ways. They tried to disqualify me.
I'm Melissa Chan. Thanks for joining us. We have a special edition of DW News Asia today. In a few moments, we'll be speaking with Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Last week, he was shot and injured during a protest march to demand fresh elections after being ousted from office in April. He was hurt in the leg but has since left the hospital. 9 other people were also wounded and 1 died. Police say the perpetrator was a lone gunman, and an unverified video started circulating online. Keep in mind, there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation out there. But the video showed a man handcuffed at a police station who said, quote, "I did it because Khan was misleading the public. I tried to kill him. I tried my best," end quote. Khan has accused Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and 2 other senior officials of being behind the assassination attempt and has demanded an independent investigation. Joining us is former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. Thank you so much for joining DW News Asia. And sir, of course, I want to start by first asking how you're healing from your injuries, and do you expect a full recovery?
I'm healing. I have 2 bullet wounds in my thigh and 1 in my shin bone. All 3 have been removed, and now my bones cracked, so it needs 4 to 6 weeks rest. I can't put weight on it until it recovers. The bullets from my thighs have been taken out, and they are flesh wounds. So full recovery, hopefully in 4 weeks' time.
That's excellent to know. Now, you've accused the Prime Minister himself, along with the Interior Minister and the country's intelligence service, of being behind this assassination attempt, and those are very serious accusations. What kind of proof have you been able to provide, and why are you saying this?
Well, first of all, let me explain that the people who are threatened the most, who would want me to be eliminated, is the current government. Because since the last 6 months, since my government has been out of office or through a conspiracy, the party's popularity is unprecedented. No party has had such public acceptability as mine. So we have won out of 37 by-elections in the past 5 months. My party has won 29. So 75% of by-elections we've won. And in all opinion polls, we are sort of by far ahead. So they are threatened. They know elections, they cannot compete. And so their motive was to get me out of the way. They tried other ways. They tried to disqualify me, put terrorism cases on me, oppressing our party, journalists hounded who were trying to portray our point of view. One is the best investigative journalist, Ashraf Sharif, was murdered in Kenya, hounded out of Pakistan. So this was a plan to get me out of the way. So those two, and let me tell you, the Prime Minister and the Interior Minister.
But sir, very quickly, what you've provided is contextual. There are certainly people who would benefit from harming you. So, but it is a little bit like Sherlock Holmes. It's deductive. You believe there's a plot based on a pattern of what critics have said. But what is the hard evidence? Because what you've provided is circumstantial.
Look, I know these 3 people were involved because I knew about the plot. The plot started 2 months back. They decided to bump me off by saying a religious fanatic had killed me. So 2 months back, they started this campaign. It was the video was made by this intelligence agency. It went on to the politicians, on the state media, where they consistently started this campaign that I offended I committed blasphemy, and these religious sentiments were upset. So I then exposed this on the 24th of September, on the 7th of October, in a public, a big rally, saying exactly this, that this is the plot, and they will have me bumped off by a religious fanatic, pretending that I'd offended, I'd committed blasphemy. Now,
so you were warned about this. You were warned about this, and so you believe that as a result of being warned, then it has to be the Prime Minister and the military apparatus behind this. And so if you knew about this, I want to ask about the security, because when I look at the videos of you doing this long march, there doesn't seem to be a lot of security. Did you just ignore the warnings, or did you decide to just take extraordinary risks to your own life, but also to those who support you?
Look, past 6 months, I have been in the public. I've held 60 public rallies, almost a record. And then this March. So there was always going to be risk. So many of the rally, before I was holding a rally, they would say, your life is at threat, there's a terrorist threat. This went on for 6 months. Now, I have the options. Do I stay at home and stop this injustice that has happened to Pakistan, where they've plonked the biggest crooks of this country, who've been looting the country for 30 years? They plonk on us, and we expected to sit quietly like a herd of sheep? Or were we going to stand up to the injustice? So I decided that whatever the risk, I would go out in the public. So there were always going to be a risk. But I know who was being threatened, and I know who plotted it. And that's why I want an independent investigation.
Got it. Now, you're doing this march, you're resuming it. Is part of your goal here to bring down the system? Because if you're as popular as you say, and the by-election certainly suggests that, why don't you wait until the next election? Why are you trying to force this to happen now? Can't you wait until next year? You will still likely be as popular as you say next year, if that's what you believe.
Melissa, it's not about me being popular and winning the elections. We will win the elections, inshallah, whenever they are held. The point is, Pakistan is going down. We are now nearing default. My worry is that by the time these criminals who've been imposed on us, by the time they go, the country might go to a point of no return. What we are seeing is our economy is tanked. All economic indicators have gone down. Exports, economic growth, agricultural growth, everything is heading down. Rupee is falling, our reserves going down. We are heading into a dark tunnel. The only way out of this are free and fair elections. Why? Because when you have free and fair elections, you will have a government for 5 years. That brings in political stability, which doesn't exist right now. And
there is no political stability. So time is of essence.
Stabilize. Listen, Melissa, economy can only stabilize if you have political stability, because only then the investors come in, only then people have confidence in the system. When no one knows how long this government is going to last, even the government doesn't know, the economy has tanked completely.
Mr. Khan, I want to express how your march has looked beyond Pakistan's borders. I'm sitting here in Berlin. You left office following a no-confidence vote, and now you're marching on the Capitol, choosing not to wait for the election. So to some, it doesn't look like a protest. It looks like an attempt to take back power, and that you're using populism to do so. From the outside, there are critics who say that this is reminiscent of the likes of Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, Donald Trump in the U.S., Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines, or Bongbong Marcos Jr. now in the Philippines. Would it be fair to include you in that bunch?
Okay, well, that's point number one. Marching to the Capitol, what is called a march. There were 3 long marches against me when I was the Prime Minister. We didn't stop them. We didn't think it threatened my democracy, because peaceful public protests are part of democracy, my right. So, firstly, it is within the Constitution. It is when you feel that there is something wrong going on as a Democrat, it is your right to protest like you do in Germany and all over Europe. Secondly, my government was removed, not some constitutional or legal way. They paid $1 million of black money was spent to buy 20 of my members of parliament. It was straightforward, something illegal. I mean, it wasn't an election, it was auction. They were buying our MNAs, and it was not hidden. The whole country knows the going rate when they spent on my members of parliament. So that is unconstitutional. So it was my right to protest. Secondly, the people who have come on imposed on us, 61% of them are on bail. 60% of the cabinet is on bail on corruption cases. And what they have done is, while the economy has gone down, they have given themselves immunity from corruption. This doesn't happen in a democracy.
So you're talking about corruption, but I go back to the fact that you were in power. What would you have done differently? If you're talking about so many people who are corrupt, do you have any regrets from your leadership, your prior leadership, in terms of not being able to tamp down corruption the way that you're talking about right now?
Well, Melissa, one regret. I came in with a thin majority, a coalition government, weak government. And what I could not do was impose rule of law. Corruption is a symptoms when you do not have rule of law. Rule of law means when you have powerful crooks who are above law, which is what has happened now. These people who've been plundering, these ruling elite, who've been stealing money for 30 years, who have massive corruption cases, have come into the parliament and waived off the corruption cases. So what I could not do is that the Accountability Bureau was not controlled by me, it was controlled by the establishment. And so I did not have the power to bring the big crooks under the rule of law. And I could not hold them accountable. And so you're ineffective. I mean, the reason why developing world is poor is because the ruling elites are above law. And I couldn't succeed in bringing them under the rule of law.
Mr. Imran Khan, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
That's all for today. Be sure to check out our website. That's dw.com/Asia. I'm Melissa Chan. Thanks for watching and goodbye.